When that arrogant boss ordered me to quietly keep that ghost employee on the payroll according to his own ridiculous rule, I did not say a single word, followed his command to the letter. And by the next month, the company-wide financial audit became his own executioner. Some managers think they own their employees, just like this ignorant boss who suffered millions in losses due to his own stupid mistake and lost his chair forever. My name is Mark, and I worked as a senior operations coordinator at a mid-sized logistics firm where the department standards were completely in the shitter, and the entire system was rotting from the inside out. Our director of operations was a guy named David, who acted like a little god across the entire office while knowing zero about actual ground reality, because he always sat inside his glass cabin inventing useless, unworkable rules that nobody could follow. Yet if anyone dared utter a single word against him, he threatened to fire them on the spot, and everyone was so terrified of him that nobody had the guts to speak up. The real trouble started when a member of our team named Kevin suddenly vanished without a trace, without any email, and without a single leave application, and it had been well over a month since he had even shown his face in the office, answering no calls, ignoring HR, and giving zero updates to David, while our team was already buried under so much workload that our sleep was ruined, and we were pulling double shifts day and night just to cover for everyone else. Because of one missing guy, the entire weight crashed down onto our shoulders and we were all stressed out, wondering where this guy had disappeared and whether he had quit or faced some massive emergency, because no normal human being just ghosts their job for over a month without a word. And if anyone did, company strict policy mandated they be terminated on day one. Our employee handbook clearly stated that any employee who engaged in an unexcused non-call no-show for 3 consecutive days would be instantly terminated without warning and replaced immediately so operations would not suffer and the remaining team members would not be overburdened. But in our case, none of that happened because David did not give a single damn about his own rules and was purely busy satisfying his own bloated ego. When I first went to David and told him that, "Sir, Kevin has been missing for a month now and we are dying under this workload, our team is breaking down, and we need permission to hire a replacement or terminate him per the rules," David did not even look up from his laptop screen and angrily told me that, "Mark, mind your own business and do not tell me how to run this company. And where Kevin is or is not is my personal issue, and I know damn well what to do and what not to do. So shut up, go back to your desk, do your job, and never try to talk to me about this again or the consequences will be severe and your own job will be on the line." I stood there stunned, wondering how a manager could be so reckless that a guy who had not stepped foot in the office for a month was either drawing a salary or wasting company resources without him caring at all. When I dug deeper into the situation, I realized the real story was entirely different, and David was either extracting some personal benefit or covering up his own blunder by pocketing Kevin's salary or some other shady inside job was cooking, because when corporate standards drop this low and managers start doing whatever they want, some major scam or corruption is always being covered up. My initial suspicion quickly turned into absolute certainty that I needed to bring this to light because I could no longer suffocate inside this ignorant system where hard work meant nothing and lazy leeches enjoyed all the perks. I decided the time had come to teach David a lesson using his own most dangerous rule, the one he had forced upon the entire department just a few months prior, declaring every single company rule to be absolute gospel and threatening to drag anyone to court and ruin their career if they dared break a single letter of it. That exact rule was about to become the bone stuck in David's throat, because I resolved to sit back completely quietly and execute malicious compliance so thoroughly that David would have zero escape routes, and company higher management would finally discover how their director was burning corporate cash to hide fraud in his department. And the mere thought of their reaction put a strange smile on my face that I barely managed to hide right in front of David. When I walked back to my desk, my fellow colleague asked me what happened, what did David say, and are we getting a replacement for Kevin? And I simply replied that nothing changed. David said everything is fine, we do not need to do anything, and we all have to handle Kevin's workload alone. Hearing this, my coworker turned red with anger and cursed it out loud, saying this is absolute madness. The standards of this company are completely in the shitter, nobody listens to anyone, everyone runs things their own way, and we are working like donkeys without a penny of extra pay or appreciation while these managers flex on us. Inside my head I thought to myself, just wait a little longer, the real twist of this story is about to drop, after which all of their minds will clear up and they will be standing around scratching their heads. Because once malicious compliance starts rolling, there's no turning back, and I was fully prepared to follow every single order of David from the next morning onward, in such a precise way that he would trap himself inside his own net, and have no idea how his entire setup collapsed overnight. The next morning, when I entered the office, I walked straight to the HR department where our HR manager sat, A guy who always danced to David tunes and never stood up for any employee because he was terrified David would fire him too. I walked up to the HR manager and asked him in a very professional and polite tone that, "Sir, I wanted to check something regarding our company policy. If an employee is unexcused and absent for over a month, is their attendance manually updated in the system or does it stay active through automation? Because Kevin has been missing from our team for a month, and I wanted to check if there is some technical glitch keeping his attendance active." The HR manager gave me a weird look and said, "Mark, why are you stressing out so much? David himself told me that Kevin is on a special medical leave and his files have direct signatures from David, so you do not need to use your brain about this and should just focus on your projects, because company rules are different for senior management and different for regular employees." Hearing this, my anger spiked even higher because their disgusting face needed to be exposed to the world, and this dishonesty could no longer remain hidden. Since under the guise of medical leave, a salary was being generated for a guy who had not been in the city or perhaps even the country for over a month while nobody knew his whereabouts, yet David was personally signing the attendance sheet and HR was fully complicit in this obvious conspiracy, giving me the exact proof I needed to map out my next step and figure out how to escalate this entire matter to the CEO and board of directors without giving David the slightest hint that I was building a case against him. I walked back to my desk in silence, sat at my computer, and started building a backup of all emails and attendance logs, which clearly showed that Kevin had not logged in for a single day over the past month and had zero remote work activity recorded, while his attendance sheet marked him present every single day with David signing off on it and sending it to HR, which was a direct violation of the company code of conduct and classified as a direct financial crime carrying instant termination and legal action per company policy. This was the exact rule David had enforced a few months ago against a junior employee who accidentally miscoded a single day of attendance and was kicked out overnight without a single warning because David claimed the company has zero tolerance for dishonesty and anyone who breaks the rules faces that exact fate. Yet here was David himself fabricating attendance for a ghost employee of over a month, and hypocrisy could not possibly get any worse than this. Therefore, I decided that this hypocrite needed a taste of his own medicine using his own rule, so he would remember for the rest of his life why you should never underestimate a regular employee. I drafted a small email and wrote that, "Sir, I am writing from the operations department to ask a few questions regarding attendance discrepancies, because a team member has been absent for over a month while their attendance is running regularly in the system. And David, sir, told me this is happening under his direct orders, so I just wanted to confirm if we are fully aligned with the new compliance rules or if any further approval is required." I sent this email directly to the internal audit department and compliance officer while putting David on carbon copy so David would assume I was just performing a routine check with zero idea about the underground reality. As soon as that email dispatched, my heart hammered slightly faster because I knew a massive storm was inbound and David's reaction would be legendary. Just like I predicted, a short while later, David flung his office door open and stormed over to my desk, shaking with rage, slamming his hand down on my desk, and yelling at the top of his lungs, "Mark, what the hell gives you the audacity to email the audit department behind my back and raise these ridiculous questions? Have you lost your mind or do you want to get fired? I can throw you out of this building right this second and nobody can save you." While David was screaming, every person in the office lifted their heads from their computers and stared at us, wondering why David was so furious and what Mark had done. Staying completely calm and cool, I looked straight into David's eyes and said with a massive smile, "Sir, you're the one who taught us that company rules and compliance are above everything else. And if anyone spots a glitch in the system, they must report it immediately to the audit department to prevent company loss. And I am simply following that exact rule you taught our entire department last month and made us swear to uphold under threat of severe punishment for rule breakers. So why are you so angry at this email? Do you think I did something wrong?" When I said those words right in front of everyone, color drained completely from David's face and he had zero responses left. Because if he said breaking rules is fine, his own credibility would vanish. And if he said following rules is wrong, his hypocrisy would be exposed to the whole office, leaving him standing speechless before turning around, bolting back into his cabin, and slamming the door shut while absolute silence fell across the floor because everyone realized David was trapped with zero way out. The audit department took that email very seriously, instantly launched an action, and pulled open the entire file exposing Kevin's fake attendance and salary scam, uncovering how David had been pocketing company funds for over a month for an employee who did not even exist in the office, and outlining David's exact motives in the official audit report. When the board of directors read that report, Their anger reached the stratosphere because corporate financial fraud is treated as the ultimate crime with zero tolerance regardless of how high up a manager ranks. The very next morning when we arrived at the office, we saw company security guards standing outside David's cabin while two senior officials sat inside with the HR manager, taking away all of David's documents and company laptop, and escorting him out of the building instantly. As David carried his belongings in a small cardboard box down the hall, his face was completely pale, his eyes glued to the floor, and when he passed right by me, he threw one final look filled with pure rage and helplessness, and I responded with a soft, gentle smile proving that arrogance and power trips always destroy people, and those who dig graves for others eventually fall right into them. After he left, the entire office atmosphere flipped completely, and the standards that were previously in the shitter instantly started fixing themselves because the new management immediately understood our team workload, officially terminated Kevin, hired a fresh and competent replacement, restored proper overtime pay, and everyone rejoiced that we were finally liberated from that ignorant system and arrogant boss. While my malicious compliance master plan succeeded flawlessly, and everyone started high-fiving me for single-handedly taking down a corrupt boss using his own traps, turning this story into an office legend proving that nobody should ever be underestimated and rules must apply equally to everyone, whether a regular worker or the company director.